Welcome to the Pencil Bob channel. I hope you enjoy the story. Remember to like and subscribe. And now the story.
I always wanted to have a gazebo in my backyard. A place where I could relax, read a book, or enjoy a barbecue with my family and friends. I had saved enough money to buy the materials and hire a contractor to build it. It was not a big or fancy gazebo, just a simple wooden structure with a roof and some benches. I thought it would look nice and cozy in my spacious backyard, surrounded by trees and flowers. But I didn't count on Todd Jensen, the president of the HOA, to ruin my dream. Todd was a nosy and bossy neighbor who liked to meddle in everyone's business. He was always looking for ways to enforce the HOA rules, which were vague and outdated. He had a personal grudge against me, ever since I beat him in a golf tournament last year. He was a sore loser and a bad sport. As soon as he saw the gazebo being built, he came over to my house and started yelling at me. He said that I was violating the HOA rules by adding a non-approved structure to my property, that I needed to get permission from the HOA board before making any changes to my house or yard. He angrily stated that the gazebo was an eyesore and a safety hazard, and that it would lower the value of the neighborhood, and that he would issue fines to me every day until I removed the gazebo. I was shocked and angry by his accusations. I told him that I had done my research and that I didn't need any permission from the HOA to build the gazebo, and showed him the city building codes, which stated that structures under a certain size and height did not require a permit. I told him that the gazebo was well built and sturdy, and that it was not a danger to anyone, that the gazebo was a personal and private addition to my backyard, and that it was none of his business. Todd was not convinced. He said that the city codes did not matter, and that the HOA rules were more important, stating that the HOA bylaws required approval for any structure that altered the appearance of the property. He said that the gazebo was clearly visible from the street and from other houses, and that it was an eyesore. He said that the gazebo was a magnet for kids, who would climb on it and get hurt. He yelled that he was the president of the HOA, and that he had the final say on what was allowed or not. I argued back, saying that the HOA bylaws were not clear on this matter, and that they were open to interpretation. The gazebo did not alter the appearance of the property, but enhanced it. I clarified that the gazebo was not visible from the street, and that it was hidden by the fence and the trees. As well, the gazebo was not open to the public, and that only my family and guests could use it. I angrily suggested that he was not the president of the HOA, but a dictator who abused his power. We went back and forth for a while, until we realized that we were not going to agree on anything. Todd stormed off, saying that he would see me in court. I slammed the door, saying that I would see him at the HOA meeting. The next day, I received a letter from Todd, stating that he had issued a fine of $100 for violating the HOA rules. He said that the fine would increase by $50 every day until I removed the gazebo. He said that if I failed to pay the fines or comply with the rules, he would take legal action against me. I was furious. I knew that he was bluffing, and that he had no legal grounds to sue me. I also knew that he was trying to intimidate me, and that he hoped that I would give up and tear down the gazebo. But I was not going to let him win. It was time to fight back, and to challenge his authority. I called some of my neighbors, who were also fed up with Todd's tyranny. They agreed to support me, and to help me get rid of Todd as president. We formed a coalition, and we started to campaign for a new HOA board. We contacted other homeowners, and we explained to them why Todd was bad for the neighborhood. We told them how he was unreasonable, unfair, and rude. Informed them how he was imposing his own rules, and ignoring the wishes of the majority. Showed them how he was wasting the HOA funds, and neglecting the common areas. He was making our lives miserable, and how we needed a change. We also nominated my wife, Lisa, as the new president. Lisa was a smart and friendly woman, who had a lot of experience in management and leadership. She had a vision for the neighborhood, and she had a plan to improve it. She wanted to update the HOA rules, and to make them more clear and flexible. Also wanted to involve the homeowners in the decision-making process, and to respect their opinions and preferences, wanted to use the HOA funds wisely, and to invest in the maintenance and beautification of the common areas. And finally, she wanted to create a sense of community, and to foster a positive and harmonious atmosphere. The HOA meeting was due in a few weeks, and we were ready to face Todd and his cronies. Enough signatures gathered to force an election, and we had prepared our speeches and arguments. Confidences were high that we had the majority of the votes, and that we would win. The day of the meeting arrived, and we went to the community hall. Todd was there, with a smug and arrogant look on his face. He had brought some of his loyal supporters, who were also on the HOA board. Todd had also hired a lawyer, who was supposed to scare us with legal jargon and threats. The meeting started, and Todd took the floor. He gave a long and boring speech, in which he praised himself and his achievements. He droned on that he had done a great job as president, and that he had protected and enhanced the value of the neighborhood. He said that he had enforced the HOA rules, and that he had maintained order and discipline. Challenges and opposition had been faced, but that he had overcome them with courage and determination. He stated that he deserved to be re-elected, and that he was the best person for the job. Then, he turned to me, and he attacked me and my gazebo. He claimed that I was a troublemaker, and that I had violated the HOA rules. He explained that I had built a non-approved structure, and that I had refused to remove it, stating that I had ignored his warnings and fines, and that I had challenged his authority. He said that I had caused a nuisance and a disturbance, and that I had lowered the value of the neighborhood. He pointed out that I had to be stopped, and that he would sue me if I didn't comply. He finished his speech, and he asked the homeowners to vote for him. He clarified that only he kept the neighborhood safe and beautiful, that he was the only one who could defend the HOA rules and rights, and that he was the only one who could deal with me and my gazebo. He plopped into his seat, shooting me a smug, self-assured grin. He believed he'd emerged victorious, convinced he'd swayed everyone to his side. He thought he'd defeated me, tarnished my image, and believed he held all the power, the last word. But Todd was horribly wrong. I stood up, and I took the floor. I gave a short and powerful speech, in which I exposed him and his lies. I said that he had done a terrible job as president, and that he had harmed and degraded the value of the neighborhood. I stated how he had abused the HOA rules, and that he had imposed his own will and whims. Also, yes, he had faced some challenges and opposition, but that he had reacted with hostility and aggression. I disputed that he did not deserve to be re-elected, and that he was the worst person for the job. Then, I turned to him, and I defended myself and my gazebo. I reiterated that I was not a troublemaker, but a homeowner who wanted to enjoy his property. That I had not violated the HOA rules, but that I had followed the city codes. His warnings and fines were not ignored but that I had challenged his legitimacy. I added that I had not caused a nuisance or a disturbance, but that I had added value and charm to the neighborhood. I reassured that I did not have to be stopped, and that he had no grounds to sue me. I finished my speech, and I asked the homeowners to vote for Lisa. I told everyone that she was the best candidate for president, and that she had a vision and a plan for the neighborhood. I stated that she wanted to update and improve the HOA rules, and to make them more clear and flexible. I pointed out that she wanted to involve and respect the homeowners, and to listen to their opinions and preferences. She wanted to use and invest the HOA funds wisely, and to beautify and maintain the common areas. I added that she wanted to create and foster a sense of community, and to promote a positive and harmonious atmosphere. I sat down, and I looked at Todd with a confident and defiant look on my face. I knew that I had won, and that I had convinced everyone to vote for Lisa, confident that I had crushed him, and that a change was coming. The time came for the vote, and we were all anxious and excited. Todd looked nervous and angry, while Lisa looked calm and confident. The homeowners filled out their ballots, and handed them to the secretary, who counted them. The result was announced, and it was a landslide victory for Lisa. She had won by a large margin, and she was the new president of the HOA. Todd had lost, and he was out of power. The homeowners cheered and applauded, and they congratulated Lisa. They thanked her for running, and they expressed their support and trust, and they were looking forward to working with her, and to seeing the changes that she would bring. They were happy and relieved, and that they felt hopeful and optimistic. We smiled, and we walked out of the hall, hand in hand. Arriving at our house, and we admired our gazebo. It was still standing, and it was still beautiful. It was our gazebo, and it was our victory.
I would like to thank you for watching the video to the end. To encourage us to make more videos, please like, subscribe, comment, as well as share. Check out this other video if you haven't already.